I don't claim to be a defensive coordinator in the NFL, but I could see 3 steps that the Jets can take to drastically improve their pass rush. Let's talk about it right now. Well, welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I am Watson-K99. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I love making the content for you, and I appreciate you taking the time to come by and watch. All right, let's get right into this. The Jets, I'm going to give you some numbers right now to start off. 1, and I'm going to give Michael Nani a credit for this. 1, that's the number of teams spending more than the Jets on their defensive line. 25. That's the number of teams averaging more sacks per game than the New York Football Jets through week 3. This is inexcusable. This has to change right now. If the Jets defense is going to resemble anything like the New York Sack Exchange, or shoot, I'll take the Rex Ryan era Jets because at least they knew how to get pressure and make life miserable for opposing quarterbacks. A couple of things have to change. So I've got 3 ideas that the Jets can start doing. Start with this Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Here's number 1. Move John Franklin Myers inside. I put JFM on the thumbnail for this video for a reason. I'm tired of watching him play edge. Now, as much as we can knock Adam Gase, Greg Williams, the prior regime that was here before the Robert Saleh era was, one thing they did right was they knew how to use John Franklin Myers. They played him inside, and that's where he was able to overpower guards and create havoc on quarterbacks. Well, you know what? This defensive this defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich, is using him on the edge. How's that working? Well, John Franklin Myers, over his last 38 pass rush snaps, has 1 pressure. It ain't working. He doesn't have the speed to beat an outside tackle. This is not Trey Hendrickson. This is not DeMarcus Lawrence. The Jets have plenty of defensive ends who can generate that pass rush. I know we haven't seen it yet, but they have a lot more defensive linemen who are more suited to play the edge than they are inside. Put JFM back inside. That was where he earned that big contract that you gave out to him, Joe Douglas. Let's move JFM back inside right now. That's 1. Go to number 2. Activate Brycehuff already. Come on. I know one thing that people talk to me about, they say this to me, that I'm a Brycehuff homer, that I'm the president of the Brycehuff fan club. You know what? Guilty as charged. That's fine. I like Brycehuff, and I'm going to give you some numbers why. In 2021, he registered a 17% pass rush win rate. That ranked in the 84th percentile among qualified rushers. That was 20th out of 123. Not too bad. Even as a rookie in 2020, Huff had a 14.8% win rate that placed him at the 73rd percentile, 32nd out of 117 pass rushers. So what does that mean? It means he got better in 2021, even though he was dealing with a back injury that really gave him problems during the second half of last season. He has been inactive for the first 3 games this year. There's no reason to deactivate him again. I want Brycehuff starting on the Jets' defensive line. I'm not saying play him every snap, but in obvious pass rushing situations on 3rd and long, play Brycehuff. All right, number 3. And this is where I want to spend some time. Coach Saleh, limit the damn defensive line rotation already. Quinnen Williams, and this is going to be a direct contrast to everything Joe Benigno has said, and I'm a Benigno fan, but he's been saying lately that Quincy Williams is better than Quinnen. Well, Joe, not that you were ever going to watch this or anything that I ever do, but I got some numbers for you specifically. Quinnen Williams is tied for 15th among interior defensive linemen with 8 quarterback pressures, even though in terms of the number of defensive snaps, he ranks only 34th. That means he is getting a lot out of the limited time that he is getting on the field. He's played 63% of the defensive snaps this season. Why can't we use Quinnen Williams like we do to Forrest Buckner or Jeffrey Simmons? I mean, who's the great defensive lineman, defensive tackle specifically, that Quinnen Williams is holding back? Is it Nathan Shepard? Is it? Is it Solomon Thomas? Me thinks not. So that one thing we definitely have to do, I want to play Quinn Williams even more than he's already playing. Another thing I want to do, play Carl Lawson more. Now, Lawson's been a frustrating subject for some Jets fans. He only has a half a sack this year, but when it comes to the pass rush, he has the highest quarterback pressure percentage in the NFL based on a minimum of 50 rushes. He has 13 pressures in 63 attempts. He's getting the pressure on the quarterback. He's just not getting home yet to the quarterback. So Carl Lawson is doing very well at pass rushing. The sacks just aren't there yet to reflect it. So play them. Play Lawson, play Quinnen a lot more. Move JFM, as I said before. And then you have the beginning of a defensive line that you could use a lot. And in that other defensive line spot, you know what? That's where you could start to rotate. Jermaine Johnson, who, by the way, is playing the run a lot better than he's playing the pass. Then you could play Jacob Martin. You could play Michael Clemens. You could try Brycehuff out and limit the snaps for Solomon Thomas, Nathan Shepard. You can use Sheldon Rankins. Rotate Rankins in with JFM and with Q. Make those your three primary defensive linemen, defensive tackles specifically. And then you have 4 or 5 guys, probably 5 guys, that are rotating along the defensive end. The big thing is, and this is what it really comes down to, our best pass rushers have been our worst run defenders, and our best run stoppers have been our worst pass rushers. So it's not a situation where you have one defensive lineman who's been especially dominant at both the pass and the run, at defending both. So maybe you need a little bit of a mixture of both, but when you have obvious run situations, that's when you put in Jermaine Johnson. That's when you can put in Quinnen Williams. That's when you put in Michael Clemens. That's what could work. That when you have an obvious pass rushing situation, well, that's when you put JJ off to the side. You put Michael Clemens off to the side. That's when you play Carl Lawson, John Franklin Myers, Quinnen Williams, Sheldon Rankins. I got to give Sheldon Rankins credit. He's played very well this season, particularly week 3. He's starting to get some pressures. He's making his presence felt a little bit more than, certainly than he did last year. But yeah, that's where you could play Brycehuff. That's where you could play Jacob Martin. So cut that rotation down to 8 defensive linemen primarily. That's what I want. 5 defensive ends, 3 defensive tackles. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. What would you do to fix this pass rush within reason? I don't think we could just bring Aaron Donald in. But let me know in the comments what you would like to see the Jets do to try to fix this pass rush, because it's got to happen fast. I'll see you later here with more content from you know where, Wicker Chair.